Welcome back to Rubbin Minds. Now, if you're just joining us, you'll probably be asking, where is Ebuka Obi Uchendu, your favorite host? Well, he's currently in Paris, like I said earlier on. He's having a good time, but he sends his well wishes, and I will be taking over his seat for today. My name is Daphne, if you're just joining in the show. And I have Segun Dada with me, and we're talking the road to Aso Rock. We've dealt with some interesting topics so far. He has high hopes, and he's so for General Buhari, and we're talking about things that are high on the list that we expect him to achieve. Now, we've talked about electricity for subsidy, meal a day, and youth unemployment. And we're going to go now to the kind of cabinet we expect from our president-elect. What are your thoughts on that?
There are certain things that I think ruined the outgoing administration. I think the kind of people that surrounded the government that made up the cabinet of President Goodluck Jonathan. I think one of the things President Muhammadu Buhari, we expect from President Muhammadu Buhari, is that he will bring in people of repute, people who will not drag his government into shame, into government. I think people who have been tested and trusted over time, technocrats who are not necessarily politicians, people who can add real value to the lives of Nigerians, who actually serve the Constitution, who serve at the President's pleasure to the point of actually making things work. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari must understand that the people Nigerians are expecting him to actually appoint to his cabinet are people who do not have any questionable character or issue attached to them. A lot of people like the Minister of Interior, for instance, were people who should have resigned because they were becoming a liability to the government they were serving in. But no, they didn't, because even the principal could not be bothered. Now, people like Stella Odua, it took almost dragging the entire administration through the gutters, political gutter, for her to actually be fired. So things like this are not things that we expect from General Muhammadu Buhari. People who would actually be able to declare their assets as when due, who we know we can call upon and actually come to the aid of Nigerians when Nigerians need them. Not people who see themselves as demigods or tin gods unto themselves. So my sense is that General Muhammadu Buhari already knows the people who fit into this kind of character. Although the national character thing might prove a problem, a situation where you have to pick one minister each from the 36 states of the federation so they can have equal representation in cabinet. These kind of things, I don't think he is the kind of person that tends to stick to that kind of favoritism or merit. Most of his appointments, I am positive, would be on merit and not on
yeah, but like you mentioned now, sometimes there are other factors that contribute to some of these people. And how sure are you? I think sometimes yes, we do have high hopes and we do want things to change, but how sure are you that when he gets there, when 29th comes, we're not going to have so many things we didn't expect happening? Okay,
one, let's look at the makeup of the APC right now, currently. Look at the makeup of the current people who are the top echelon of the APC, and people who, by virtue of association, are also somewhat members of the APC. I think that we can go to bed with both of our eyes closed. I, for one, I think I may sound very biased towards General Muhammadu Buhari, but this is because I believe so much in his leadership, and I believe he's a fair man. I think he has what it takes to do right by us, and his appointments are going to reflect this personally. That's my opinion on that. And these people, yes, the pivot ministries that need the frontliners would have the square pegs and square holes. That's something I'm very positive about, because the people that surrounded him, even during the build-up from the campaign to the election, look at former governor of Ekiti State, Governor Fahimi, for instance. He did a very marvelous job with the APC presidential primaries. These are the kind of people that we know that if they're put in certain positions will do very well. A lot of people like that. The outgoing governor of Lagos State, there's so many people. We know that if these people are given the opportunity, they will do right. But the only person who would pick people out of merit and not of favoritism or by virtue of where they are from is General Muhammadu Buhari. So that is my belief. I believe his cabinet, yes, based on his precedent. In 1985, General Muhammadu Buhari actually, some people like Professor David Tam West, for instance, did not know he was going to be petroleum minister until he was invited to the barracks. It was on his table when they sat on the round table for the first Federal Executive Council meeting that I actually saw on a piece of paper where they wrote his appointment, petroleum minister. This guy did not even know he was going to be, but he was perfect for that spot. Okay. So this is somebody who picks people to work with him based on their track record. He's not going to pick somebody simply because some godfather somewhere will be upset if he doesn't. He won't.
Okay, okay. All right, let's go now to agriculture. Now, he did promise that he would concentrate on agriculture when he gets into office. Can agriculture actually sustain this country?
You see, for one, while I may not be a very strong supporter of the outgoing administration, I think their agri policies were very good. And I think if President Muhammadu Buhari takes up some of these policies, like he has promised that he would, I think it's going to go a long way in revamping, helping us with this dependence on oil. Agriculture was before we started this heavy dependence on oil. Agriculture was driving the economy to a very large extent. In the Southwest, I can remember very vividly the cocoa industries, the cocoa foreign exports was a large source of revenue for the Southwest region then, and they did a lot of great things with it. So I think that all we just need is sincere people who actually understand what they're doing, and they are willing to put the interest of Nigerians above vested interest. That is all the problem with Nigeria. See, we have a lot of policies that are very great. We have a lot of laws, we have a lot of rules, we have a lot of visions, 2020, vision 2030. If you read these documents, they are marvelous. But implementation is the problem because we do not have people who have the wherewithal or the political will or even the moral will to make these things work.
But we can agree that the last government did sort of soften the ground for that to happen.
Yes. That's why I say, even though I'm not a supporter of President Jonathan, I think the outgoing Minister of Education did a very good job in that aspect. And that's praise must also be attached to the person who appointed him to the office. So I think he has softened the ground a great deal. If the middlemen in agriculture have been eliminated. For fertilizers have been eliminated to a great extent. So I think the farmers have been able to they have been able to bring the farmers around and mobilize them to the point of actually getting across to them from the federal government itself. So I think if the president-elect encourages the states to actually go, because now we already know that we have a big problem. States are not even pay salaries anymore because most of these people just wait for the end of the month before they rush to Abuja to pick the next federal allocation, pay salaries. Now, they are already having issues with the monies they're getting from Abuja. It's going to show up because the IGR, nobody is being creative. Apart from few states that have very creative governors that have gone out of their way. A lot of people, a lot of these governors just wait on Abuja because they know the money is going to be shared very soon. So if we have a president, this thing comes from top to bottom. If you have a president who is insisting that your internal generated revenue must be top-notch, people will go back to the basis, which is agriculture for most states in Nigeria, especially in northern Nigeria. I think northern Nigeria has what it takes to feed Nigeria, the entire country.
But we're not used to that anymore. Okay, so now let's talk about NAS. Now, can General Buhari reduce the luxury? We know they have 150 billion right now. What do you think? I feel this is probably going to be one of his toughest things to achieve. What are your thoughts on it? Can he actually reduce the luxury?
The happy thing for me, even though I wasn't a very proud supporter of APC SAC. APC SAC is vote anything APC during the elections. I think General Buhari made use of that statement a lot during the campaigns, like APC SAC. And on asking her, like, why does he have to be this? We have to think about personalities before the political party. The idea is that as a member of the APC, you already know the campaign promise the party made. It's not even the president alone. Now, one of the promises we made was we were going to cut costs in government as APC as a party. Now, cutting costs involves the National Assembly. National Assembly alone is gulping 150 billion every year. Now, they have a way of doing it in such a way like, before even the money gets out, they pick off their own from the source. So there's no way they are going to be broke or anything. They are going to get theirs first. 150 billion to service a couple of hundreds of people. No, that's not the way it's supposed to work. Now, the only way General Buhari could have made this happen was get APC to have a majority at the floor of the House.
Yes.
Now, he said, and I quote, that he's going to review, he's going to encourage RAFMAC to review salaries and allowances for public office holders, which is number one. Number two, the House of National Assembly members, I think most of the frontliners have been advocating cuts in the expenditure of the House. I think that President Muhammadu Buhari is going to lead by example. He was in London a couple of, I think this past couple of days, and he was offered a Rolls Royce ride from the airport somewhere, and he refused to take it. This is somebody who doesn't tolerate waste. Yes. So if the president himself is doing that, the National Assembly members will be, I think they will be dumb to pitch themselves against the people's president, because the people know that what we need is prudence at this point. We don't have money to waste. We don't have anything to waste. So I think that with the leadership of the APC and the majority members that they have at both levels of the National Assembly, I think that it's not going to be as difficult as most people think it would be. The NAS, we led a protest, I think, 2 years ago, calling for a cut in the bogus salary of the National Assemblies. Yeah. It's not just the National Assembly, even the state assemblies. All these people are receiving bogus allowances that they ordinarily should not serve.
I think it's not just a problem with NAS. I think, like, I was having a conversation with someone, and the person mentioned that Nigerians as a whole are a bit wasteful. And so if this, I feel it's going to be much harder than we think. I know that a lot of people are in support and a lot of people have high hopes, and we don't do one change. But this is going to be a very difficult part, because Nigerians have the attitude of saying, oh, you know, the past people had this, why can't I have that? Yeah. This is going to be difficult to implement. You
know, a foreigner one time wrote an article about Nigeria. He said, if you pick out the 469 people at the National Assembly, replace them with random people from the streets of Lagos, the same number, they will do exactly the same things these guys are doing. Not because there's a problem of entitlement.
Exactly.
Now, the governments that we have had concurrently have been governments of waste. This is still my strong point. It has been a government of waste. Now, you see the president spending £1 billion on feeding a year. He doesn't have the moral justification to come to you to ask you to reduce. Now, you now see another person who is calling for a cut in waste in government, who has made up his mind that even the Aso Villa budget is going to go down top notch. So it will be foolhardy of them, in my humble opinion, for them to now say, oh, the executive council is saying this. The judiciary ordinarily would stay by the executive council. Then just the parliamentary arm of government will now feel entitled. They know times are hard. It is no longer storage. I think Nigerians have elected these people. We must also hold them to accountability. Sure. We must support General Muhammadu Buhari in his call for a cut in waste in resources. Definitely. I think that's the best thing that can happen. It goes beyond just supporting him to the point of getting into government. We must also support the policies we feel that are beneficial to all of us as a country.
Sure. So definitely we must all now become agents of that change that we've always wanted. Yes. Well, Segun, like I said, is very hopeful and very passionate about this, and definitely we do hope that he makes all these changes, and we definitely hope that Nigeria, actually encounters the change that we've all been screaming since we started this whole process, and hopefully the road to Aso Rock will be a good one. We're going to go now on another commercial break. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.